The night is thick with shadows and the sound of something crying in the distance. It is not an animal, it is not the wind, it is something else. Something raw, something alive and in pain. The human moves forward, pushing through tangled roots and unseen hands of foliage that claw at his skin and drag against his legs. The cries grow louder, pulling him deeper into the heart of the unknown. His breath is heavy, his steps are uneven, his mind is a whirlwind of questions, yet he cannot stop, he must not stop. The cries call to him, they demand his attention, they twist through the trees like living things, desperate hands reaching for salvation. The air is thick with a scent, he does not recognize it is smoke, but not smoke, it is fire. But not fire, it is something deeper, something ancient and wrong, something that makes his skin prickle and his stomach twist. He does not know if it is fear or something else, something he cannot name, but he presses on. The cries do not stop, they rise and fall in jagged waves of suffering. They dig into his mind and burrow deep into his bones. He stumbles through the undergrowth and emerges into a clearing. The fire leaps toward the sky, twisting and writhing like a living beast. It casts wild shadows against the trees, making them dance and shudder in the flickering glow. The source of the cries is before him, tied to a spit above the roaring heat. It is a girl, her skin is strange, her limbs too long, her eyes too large and black and filled with something he cannot understand. Her mouth opens and the cries tear free again, raw, agonized, wordless. The figures around the fire do not turn, they do not see him, or they do not care. They chant in a tongue he does not know. They move in rhythm to some song older than time itself. Their bodies are wrapped in paint and cloth and bone. Their eyes are closed, their faces lifted toward the sky, their hands raised as if in worship or supplication. The girl's body is slick with sweat or something else. The heat licks at her skin, drawing blistering welts along her flesh, yet she is not burning, not the way she should. Her flesh does not curl, does not blacken, does not fall away in ash. Her skin glows, it pulses as if alive in a way that flesh should not be. He cannot move, he cannot breathe. His mind is screaming at him to do something, to run, to fight, to flee, to save her, to look away, to forget that any of this is happening. But he cannot, he is frozen, his heart is pounding, his body is lead. The girl turns her head, her dark eyes find his across the fire. They hold him, pin him to the earth beneath him. They speak though no words are said. Help me, they say, though her mouth does not move. Save me, though she does not beg. The chanting grows louder, the fire grows taller, the trees tremble, the stars above seem to burn with unnatural light. The night itself is alive, watching, waiting. His feet move before his mind can catch up. He surges forward into the light, into the heat, into the madness. The figures do not stop, they do not react, they do not acknowledge his presence. The girl's eyes widen, something shifts within them, a flicker of something he cannot name, but he knows that it is important, he knows that it is real. The fire does not burn him, it should, but it does not. It parts around him like water, bending, yielding, whispering. He does not understand how or why, he does not care. He reaches up, his hands find the ropes that bind her. They are rough against his fingers, they bite into his skin. He pulls, he tears, he rips, the fibers fray, snap, give way. The girl falls into his arms, her body is lighter than it should be, warmer than it should be. The chanting stops, silence crash down like a wave, crushing, suffocating, absolute. The figures open their eyes, they turn as one, their gazes lock onto him, and in that moment, he knows he has made a mistake. Their faces are wrong, their mouths are too wide, their teeth too sharp, their eyes too hollow. They do not breathe, they do not blink, they do not move yet. He knows they are alive, he knows they are aware. The girl in his arms stirs, her fingers curl against his chest. Her skin is strange, too smooth, to cool, yet burning with something deeper than heat. She speaks, and though her lips move, the words do not come from her mouth, they come from inside his mind. Run. His feet obey before he can think, before he can question, before he can even process the horror unraveling before him. He bolts through the undergrowth, the girl clutched tight against his chest. The night stretches before him, endless, shifting, breathing, pulsing with unseen dangers and unseen eyes. He can hear them behind him, the figures that were still, now moving, now pursuing. Their steps are not steps, they are whispers against the ground. They are the creak of bending wood, they are the sigh of wind that should not be. The girl tightens her grip on him, her breath is cold against his neck, her voice in his head again faster. She says they are coming, he does not need to be told, he can feel them, he can feel the wrongness of them. Spilling through the trees, slithering across the sky, pressing against the very fabric of reality. The path ahead is closing roots, twisting trees, shifting the world is bending around him, as if trying to trap him, to swallow him whole. He leaps over gnarled branches, he stumbles, he nearly falls, but he does not stop, he cannot stop. The girl's eyes glow now faint, but growing stronger, pulsing like a heartbeat that is not a heartbeat. She is becoming something more, something beyond. The sky above splits, a tear in the fabric of night, a wound bleeding impossible colors. The girl raises her hand and the world holds its breath. Time stretches, thin splinters, and then the figures behind them scream. It is not a sound, it is a force. It is a breaking of reality itself. Their hollow eyes widen, their two wide mouths split open, and they fall to their knees, writhing, clawing at their faces, at the space around them, as if trying to hold onto a world that is no longer theirs. The girl looks at him, and this time, he understands. She is not afraid. She was never afraid. She was waiting for him, waiting for this moment, waiting for the door to open. She speaks one last time in his mind. Thank you, and then she is gone. Her body dissolves into light, into energy, into something vast and endless, and then the sky heals, the wound closes, the colors fade, and the night is silent once more. He is alone. The forest is just a forest. The fire is gone, the figures are gone, the world is still. He does not know if any of it was real, but he knows that he will never be the same.